Hope you're having a good night. I guess I'll start off my story by saying that I am not a big fan of public pools. I find them to be a little bit unsanitary. For example, you know that hair that gets wrapped around your toes at the pool? Like, it's gross enough when it's your own hair and you're at home, but when you're untangling somebody else's hair from your foot, it's just, you know, it's not that great. Then there's those ladies in the shower, you know, the ones that bring their own hand towel, and they just take those things to places that nobody needs to see in public, and it's just like, you know, you just don't want to be there. So, yeah, for those of you that are eating, if there's anyone eating, I apologize in advance, because the story does not get any better. So, when I was about 12, my mom signed my sister and I up for a summer day camp, one of those run by Parks and Rec. It was called the Swim and Skate Camp. So I didn't really feel like spending my summer wearing a scarf and gloves, flailing around in an ice rink, because, you know, I'm from Colombia and we don't really ice skate there. And so, needless to say, I wasn't very good. And I didn't want to spend it in a public pool either, but since I was 12 and had no choice, I went. So my first day at the pool, you know, I got my bathing suit on, put my clothes away in those little lockers, got the key, and you know, they could put those keys on anything, like Velcro or a button, but they have to put it on like the biggest safety pin known to man. And then you have to pin that on your naked body in an area where slipping is of high risk. So my love for public pools just grows and grows. So, you know, I pin it on anyway, take the hair from my foot, and ask the lady in the shower, get to the pool, and I surprisingly had a fantastic time. Like, I made friends, I went in the hot tub, I raced down the water slides. It was such a good time. And I found a new appreciation for public pools. I was pretty excited. So near the end of the trip, I decided to go to the deep end to do some laps, because I had just, you know, being 12, I had just done my level 12 swimming lessons, so it was a pretty big deal. I was like a professional, right? So went to the deep end, did some laps, and I was on one opposite side of the pool, taking a break, and I see my sister come up on the other side, and she's signaling to me that it's time to go. So she sits on the edge of the pool with a towel on her lap waiting for me to swim towards her. So I'm like, okay, this is it, the last lap of the night, gotta make this count. So I'm in the zone. I am just intense, doing my 1, 2, up, right? How they teach you 7 up, for those of you who aren't as experienced. So. And get to the other side, grab a towel, start wiping my face down, and then I realized, like, I noticed the towel has a really funky smell. Like, it's like musky and kind of weird, and then I realized it feels really odd too. I'm like, where did my sister find this towel? So I open my eyes and look up, and I realize that I'm wiping my face with the beard of an Indian man. Yeah, I wish it had been that funny back then, but so, you know, we're kind of staring at each other. Sure what to say to that at that point. And then finally, he takes his beard and rips it from my head, yells something at me in Punjabi, which I just do not understand, and storms off. And I guess it turns out, as I was, you know, in my Olympic moment, my sister went to go get a drink of water, and this jolly man just decided to go have a nice relaxing dip in the pool and got beer grabbed. So it's a good time all around. And so my sister comes over after the scenario. I'm kind of sitting there at the edge of the pool, and she's like, what were you doing with that guy? And what's all over your face? So I realized that I have these tiny little pube-like leftover hairs all over my face from this guy. And yeah, you know, fun summer memories, the best. You know, my family's never really had good luck with hair, like whether it's our own or other people's hair, we just do not seem to have good luck with that. And I remember that same year we got our first DVD player, and we were so excited. It was a hand-me-down from a family friend, but nevertheless, So excited. So we went out and bought our first DVD, and it was What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams. And it's a great movie, but it's about 2.5 hours long, right? So it's quite an investment. So we decided to make a great movie day out of it. So we invite our uncles, my cousins, everyone's over, and we're sitting on the couch, put this thing on, and it's the climax of the movie. You know, Robin is like at the gates of hell trying to find his deceased wife, tell her he loves her, you know, and so he's up there and he's about to talk to her for the first time, and the movie freezes! It freezes in the middle of the action, and so, you know, everybody's like, what's going on? So, you know, we try, like, taking this thing out, doing the whole, like, putting it down, fast forward, rewind, like, main menu, all those fancy gadgets that DVD players had. Nothing. It was toast. So we're like, okay. My uncle's like, you know what? We're going to go out right now. We're going to buy a brand new DVD player. This thing is crap. Fine. So him and my dad go out at, like, 10 p.m. at night to the closest store that sells DVDs, right? They come home about 45 minutes later like heroes. I mean, they're carrying this thing, this box, like a trophy. You know, and the living room crowd goes wild. We're like, yes, we get to finish this movie. So they hook it up, put the DVD back on. You know, we get to the scene again. Robin's at the gates of hell, and it freezes again in the same spot. I mean, this thing was like the playoffs. Everybody on the couch got up and we're like, no! Why, Robin? So, you know, my dad's like, all right, that's it. You know what? I'm fixing this thing myself. So he leaves, and he comes back a couple minutes later with a hair dryer. You know, so we're thinking, all right, maybe he thinks there's some dust in there, some particles he can get out. Fine, so he plugs this thing in, and he's like, ring! Okay, doesn't work, still frozen. All right, so he's like, my dad just does not give up on anything. So he's like, I got it. I'll be right back. Okay. He leaves again for longer this time, and he comes back with this massive leaf blower. Like one of those monsters. This thing is huge. And so we're looking at him, what the heck are you thinking? He's like, this is going to work. All right. So he tries to reach the DVD player, but this thing is just too big. So he decides to put it on his head, and he's got this thing set up, and this thing is like, we're looking at him like stray papers are flowing everywhere. Like plastic plants with some leaves in our house. And all of a sudden he starts freaking out. He's like, get this thing off me! Get it off! Get it off! What's going on? So we go over there and try to find the button. We finally get the thing off. He rips the thing from his head, and there's a huge bald spot on his head, like no hair. It is dead. But my dad has a good head of hair, right? So, not at that time. So we're like, what happened? So it turns out this thing, leaf blowers have a little fan at the bottom, so they don't get overheated, and the thing like whipped my dad's hair around and ripped it off his scalp. So the poor guy grabs the tufts of hair from the machine. Look what this thing did to me! Super pissed off, and we didn't get to finish the movie that night, but we got a hell of a show, so we were not too disappointed. And I'd like to give a shout out to my dad, who's right over there. Thank you for letting me publicly humiliate you for the sake of comedy. And thank you guys.